Welcome back. Welcome back to Living in Mexico. I'm Ana Maria Salazar. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, if you were planning to fly out of Mexico City's airport in October, and if you are one of those very organized persons who makes your reservations for Christmas months ahead of time, and we're planning to fly out of Mexico City, you definitely need to listen to this segment of the show. This is really important because this week, a decree was published by President Manuel Lopez Obrador, where basically he is ordering that the number of flights that will be leaving from Mexico City International Airport is going to be reduced from 52 flights to 43 flights per hour. So that is a huge reduction. And this is an order coming, well, it is coming from the president, but it's an order coming from civil protection authorities that are warning that the Mexico City airport is operating at 150% capacity, and which could lead to, well, really serious problems. And any of those of our listeners who have recently used the Mexico City airport, you know what I'm talking about. It is a mess. I have to say it. So, what does this mean for the Mexico City airport? What does it mean for those all of you who've made reservations or plan to make reservations to fly out of the Mexico City airport? That's why I really appreciate today's guest. He's joined us before, Rodrigo Soto Montes. He is an aviation law expert. He teaches at Panamericana University. Welcome once again to the show. Can you just walk us through what this decree is about, and what's going to be the impact?
Well, the decree is very clear. We need to, the authority says it's need to reduce the operations significantly in order to keep the safety of the operations. An airport traditionally is divided into sides, the air side and the land side. And the problems are in both sides because there's a lot of saturation, a lot of, amount of people and a lot of operations. So the national security law, the Mexican national security law says in its article number 5 in the fraction 6, that any intervention or act that can compromise the civil aviation operation is a threat to the national security. So, and also I have to say that this situation in the international airport of the Mexico City, it's a well-known situation. For more than 20 years, it was a general claim that there's a lot of people inside, that there were a lot of operations there, and that is going to be a problem for the future. That's why we were started to talk about the new airport. And even though in the President Fox period, this situation was who start for looking for a new place for the airport, but only with President Peña Nieto, we start looking for other solutions. I don't think so, even though we have now to try to foster the Santa Lucia's airport, but I think this reasonable claim. What is the problem? The period of the change. It's short notice term in order to move all that operation to other place or to relocate the operations in other airport. That's the main problem from my perspective.
Well, so what is going to happen now to both passengers and users of the Mexico City airport? Simply because, there's been reluctance by the airlines to use the new, what is basically a military base that has a civilian part of the airport, which is Felipe Ángeles, the new airport that was constructed, or the civilian part of the airport that was constructed by President Lopez Obrador. And then there is excuse me, there is the airport in Toluca. I mean, is that where all these airlines are just, I mean, they're just basically going to have to move their flights out of these airports? Are they going to be able to do it in such short time?
Well, I hope so. And I said I hope so because there are not many choices. What I mean is they have to start to deal and to start dealings and negotiations with the operators of those airports in order to try to make a smooth handling or a smooth management with the passengers, and having the passengers as a goal at the end of the service, because the people won't like to lose their flights or to have their flights canceled. So they have to start to move, and they have to see what kind of itineraries, what kind of routes, or what kind of flights are the best. For the passengers, it's going to be annoying to move to another airport and to take, because it took a lot more time. The amount of time that it took to get to Santa Lucia, or the amount of time that it took to get to Toluca, surely is going to be annoying for them. But it's the only way in order to try to keep as many flights without no cancellation as they can.
Now, is the AIFA, the Felipe Ángeles Airport and the Toluca Airport, are they ready to receive all these extra flights in such short notice?
Well, the operator of Santa Lucia yesterday says in a public declaration that they are. And Toluca, in the past scenarios, they used to have all the capabilities to receive the flights, because they had the facilities, had the installed capacity to do it. Is in order to a little bit in a forced way to start to put in act these systems of metropolitan airports to work together. This will be an occasion to do it.
This is putting the users in a horrible situation, because basically those who already made reservations have to, basically wait to find out if their flights are going to be among the flights that are going to be canceled. And those who are interested in buying or purchasing flights for the end of the year, the holiday season, I really can't do anything, because it really depends on how fast the airlines can negotiate the new.
But for the airlines, the liability is very limited because it's an order coming from the authority. So the liability for the airlines will be contained very well, and they can handle it if they have enough time. So they're going to start as soon as possible in order to manage the communication with the clients in order to make it as smooth as they can.
So the problem is going to be basically for the passengers. It seems like the airlines are going to do okay.
At the end of the change, the passenger will be annoyed.
Oh God. And it's already annoying enough to have to travel during the holiday season. And just in general, flying has become quite a process. I appreciate you joining us today, Rodrigo Soto. I guess the last suggestion we have for our audience is just to sit tight and just follow any communication coming from the airlines, especially if you need to be making reservations.
Yeah, try to reach your airline in order to ask for your flights, and try to get all the provisions that you can in order you have as a good trip as you can, because this is a reasonably command coming from the authority, from my perspective, because it's well known that the Aeropuerto Internacional de la Ciudad de México was fed up in all, or topped in all its capacity.
It was
for many years. Yeah, it was overcrowded for many years.
It's a miracle that there hasn't been a major disaster. Thank you so much for joining us, Rodrigo Soto. He is an expert on aviation law in Mexico. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go to commercial break. I'm Ana Maria Salazar, and you're listening and watching Living in Mexico. Don't go away. I'll be right back.